And welcome back, everyone, to the Pokemon Team Creation Series. I'm keeping my voice down based on the levels. It should be fine, just because it's a little late at night. But I wanted to get it out, be caught up on everything. My videos were a little late yesterday due to weather. But anyway, from Power to the 99, we have what is the Pokemon team of Boa Handcock from One Piece. One of those fan favorite characters or fan service characters, however you want to go to say it. Uh, she was a member of the Gorgon sisters, who two of them had snake-based devil fruit, the Anaconda model devil fruit and the King Cobra model devil fruit. She herself has something called the Maramarino Me. I think it's a petrification fruit involving love and lust. Uh, so surprisingly, finding making a team for really wasn't that hard. Just breaking it down, let's just go into it. She is considered among, if not the most beautiful woman in the One Piece world. So I knew I needed a Pokemon that expressed beauty. And why not go with the Serpentine Milotic? Milotic is, I find, it's not the most beautiful Pokemon. I know its Pokedex entry puts it as one of the most beautiful Pokemon in the world. Add on to the fact that Robin is still Robin. Robin's a different character. Um, Boa is still technically a pirate in her own right. So you have a water type mon that she can use for traversing, Serpentine to deal with to have it be in line with the Gorgon sisters, and the most elegant Pokemon in the world. She's also, if I'm not mistaken, Empress, which is not a queen, but having a Nido queen on the team made sense. It is as it is the female equivalent of king. But she also has a built-in hatred of men due to traumatic past. So all the Mon on her team would be female. And I think Nidoking just works as kind of like a nice heavy hitter because she is a skilled hand-to-hand fighter as well. She is also a person who is deeply in love. Love is a big part of who she is. Love, lust, desire. And the fact that she ultimately fell in love with Luffy as well. So I decided to put a love disc on the team. One, because they do learn attract, but two, they also in their Pokedex lore talk about two love discs coming together being a representation of love. I believe it's something along those lines. So that I thought kind of worked, and it's one other water type, so it works great for a pirate of the sea. I knew I needed two snake Pokemon to represent her two sisters. So the model King Cobra, Arbok. Just it's a cobra. You have to have an Arbok. The model Anaconda, surprisingly, we have Sandaconda, which is an anaconda. Well, at least in name. Not really designed like an anaconda, to be fair, but an anaconda. By the way, I as much as I don't hate Sandaconda, I've never understood the first coil around its head because that's not how a coil works. It just looks like a donut around its head. I've never quite liked that design. Hopefully, whatever next snake-based Pokemon we get will look better than that. Finally, though, obviously, is the petrification ability her devil fruit gives her. To use kind of in conjunction with the whole lust love thing that her love disc would allow her. The problem here is we don't have a true Gorgon Pokemon at the moment. Allegedly, Gen 10 is going to be Grease based on the few leaks we got called Gaia and a lot of water. So it's possible we could get a Gorgon-based Pokemon in that region, but as it stands right now, we don't have one. So I knew it had to probably be Rock because petrification goes with Rock usually. But with that, I had to basically look at it and go, okay, what move acts kind of like petrification on some level? This is the one mon where I think you could probably sub something else out for this, but I went with Garganacl because it can learn Salt Cure, which it's not curing with salt is not petrification, but it does dry things out. So I felt that was close enough, at least in to whatever extent. So that's the team. Now, how balanced is the team? Well, in terms of how strong it is, it completely obliterates fire types. Like except for Arbok, all the mon on this team can annihilate fire types. You've got a ×2 strength against ground types with a 2 water. You got a ×4 strength against rock types. The only two that aren't strong is the Garganackle, who's already rock, and the Arbok. The other two, or the other four, 2 ground types and 2 water types, good against rock. The 2 ground types are also good against steel. The 2 poison types are good against grass. The 2 poison types are also good against fairy. The 2 ground types are good against electric, and the 2 ground types are also good against poison. However, on the flip side of that coin, the 2 water types are straight out weak to grass and electric, as well as the ground and the rock type are also weak. So that's to grass. So that's a ×4 weakness to grass. We have a ×3 weakness to water with the 2 ground and 1 rock type. You have a ×2 weakness to ice, a ×2 weakness to ground due to the 2 poison types, and ground does not resist ground, and a ×2 weakness to psychic thanks to the poison typing. Still, though, in terms of stats, this is not a bad team. The Milotic, the Nidoqueen, the Sandaconda, and the Garganackle all have solid stat lines. The Arbok's a little on the weaker side, but it can definitely pull its weight when it needs to. The Luvdisc is hit or miss. But the last question is always raised is how balanced is this team? When it comes to Kanto, you're not going to struggle until the Elite Four. Because Milotic is a trade or beauty evolution, depending on which gen you're using, you can have it immediately at the beginning of that whatever run you're doing here, and because of the second gym, your level is almost always going to be around the time you can evolve into Nidorina. You can always have a Nidoqueen probably by the second gym. Now, I never really allow TMs for this run, but I will say if you can relearn a move, that should be allowed. I think that should be allowed. Anyway, so with that being said, so you would have no trouble with Brock gets clapped. And Milotic is a fully evolved, very beefy Pokemon that can take on Starmie. And then Nidoqueen is ground's going to be immune to Surge, and then so forth and so on. You will clear all the gyms without really any difficulty. But surprisingly, Lorelei is the first big problem because she is a water ice type specialist, which means she's taking down your 2 ground and your water or rock type really easy because unfortunately you don't have really any fast Mon on this team, save for maybe Luvdisc being somewhat fast. So you're going to lose Nidoqueen, Sandaconda, and Garganackle pretty early. You might be able to muscle through her, and Bruno won't be that big of an issue. But you're gonna reach another problem with Lance because you have no strength against Dragon. And in fact, 2 of your Mon are resisted by Dragon. Your 2 Watermon get just fully resisted. If you even manage to get past him, you're still gonna have to get past Blue, who's so diversified. Like Pidgeot, his Pidgeot alone, you'd have to switch out into Garganackle. Then he brings out Alakazam, which you have no real strong option for, and that's probably going to take down at least 1 or 2 of your Mon. Then he goes into Rhydon, which you can take that down easy. And then depending on what his starter is, you're dealing with either a fire, a grass, or an electric type. Only one of them, by the way. Let me rephrase that. You're dealing with a fire, grass, and electric type. Just depends on which one you're dealing with. And honestly, the problem right there is that at that point, you're probably down half your team, close to anyway. So the water's going to take down the remaining ground or rock type you have. And the electric type can take down your water types, and the grass type, sorry, not the last type, the grass type can take down your remaining water types. I don't think it's impossible, but it's a very strong maybe. Johto, it's going to be honestly another clean run all the way through the gyms up until you get to Claire. Really, you shouldn't struggle with Faulkner. You shouldn't struggle with Bugsy. Even with Whitney, you're not going to struggle that much. But Claire is again a problem because Dragon resists water, and you just don't have any strong moves. Add on to the fact she has Kingdra, and that's going to be problematic to say the least. So again, not a complete wash, I think, but very difficult. Will also is going to pose a problem because not only is he a psychic specialist taking out your Nidoqueen and your Arbok, but he's also got 2 Xatu on the team that have flying, so therefore Sandaconda is not going to be able to do much. Garganackle is the only thing that you have on the team that can do anything to them, and that's not even including the fact he also still has Slowbro on the team. So that's another problematic team member. And then you still got to deal with if you get past all of them, which again, I think Koga's not actually that big of a problem. I don't think Bruno, again, is that big of a problem as you only got one weakness to fighting on this team. Karen isn't even really that big of an issue. But Lance, again, is a problem with three Dragonites that are going to resist pretty much most of this. Or at least resist Milotic and then, outraging and just taking down a huge portion of this team. So it's a no, I think, for Johto. Moving to Hoenn, honestly, again, you really wouldn't have a big problem until you get to Wallace or Juan. Then you got to get through Nate, and Nate does have two grass types, plus Mightyena and Absol. But I think you could get through him, honestly. And Phoebe, frankly, you should be able to deal with that too. I think you should be able to deal with Glacia without too much issue, although the Walreign's going to be problematic to say the least. So yeah, because she's an ice specialist, but she's an ice water specialist, is what she really is. So Glacia is going to be a little problematic, and once again, I can't see you getting past Drake. Or not Drake. Drayden, not Drayden. No, it is Drake. Yeah, Drake. I don't see you getting past him. So it's just a no there. And Sinnoh, you'll make it all the way to Elite Four. In fact, you'll even make it past Aaron and Bertha without too much difficulty. And you'll I'll back up. Aaron might give you a little trouble, but Garganacl, as long as you've taken down the Heracross first, should take care of the rest. Lucian, though, will be problematic, and honestly, Cynthia's team's too diverse to get through, so I don't see that happening. Unova, quite frankly, you can just go through the entire region, no problem. Honestly, even the Elite Four with one type specialist with Psychic who's going to be a little strong against you should be fine, but you will reach the end when it comes to Alder and Iris. Alder's Excelgor alone is faster than anything on this team. It will probably take down Milotic if you're not careful. Even if you do bring out Garganacl, he can then bring out Excavalier, which will resist rock and then deliver steel type moves to bring down the Garganacl. After that, and Bug also resists ground. That's not brought up very often. And after that, he can just kind of spam two of your two ground types with the Vanillux. Not to mention Buffalon can deal with the other two, and then Volcarona can just roast a good portion of that team. And then Iris alone bringing out Hydreigon is just going to mess up that team immensely. So, and even still, you're dealing with also Lapras, you're dealing with the Haxorus. It's just a no-go, no bueno. So, no, you cannot become champion of Unova either. Kalos, again, you don't really have an issue with the run. Like, the gym leaders aren't usually the problem in these runs. The problem comes with Elite Four, and I believe it's Cavell is the name of the water type specialist. The water type Elite Four member is going to give you a problem. Half your team is weak to water, and you're not strong against water with the other half. If you can manage to get past him, though, you'll get past the other three, I think, without too much issue. Diantha, though, I ultimately had to come to the conclusion you can't beat Diantha. Assuming you start with Milotic, she brings out Hawlucha, which outspeeds Milotic. It's going to get a Swords Dance off. If you're lucky, you might take it down with a Disarming Voice, but unlikely. And then it's going to Swords Dance, then it's going to Flying Press and start doing some damage. Eventually, you're going to take that down, but you're probably going to either lose Milotic in the process or barely hang on to it. Tyrantrum's going to come out, knock out the Milotic, because Milotic is just not going to be able to take it down. Then you got to make the choice of what you bring out next, Sandaconda or Nidoqueen. One of them is either going down or barely surviving. Then he's going to bring out Aurorus, which is not the best mon for this scenario, but it is still an ice type that could be a problem. So you got to deal with that, but then you got to deal with Goodra, which is such a tank. And at this point, you're starting to run out of mon. And not to mention, you also still got Gourgeist, which is a grass type, and then Mega Gardevoir. It's just you can't win. I don't think you can be the champion of Kalos. Galar, Milo is going to be a problem but you have a fully evolved Milotic to start, so I actually think you can get through Milo, but it might take a couple of tries. Nessa also is going to be just a little difficult because you will have a ground type against her water types, but again, your Milotic's fully evolved, so you should be fine. And then after that, Raihan might give you a little bit of a problem because he's a dragon ground rock specialist, tag team expert. And then Leon. And once again, Leon just will cleave through a vast majority of this team. Frankly, Leon, again, his Dragapult alone, I don't know why this wasn't his ace. Um, because it doesn't have a Gigantamax. Well, whose fault is that? I just need to reiterate how powerful that Dragapult on its own is. Because it's fast, it's powerful with its special attack, and it's got a really, um, really powerful move set. Let me see here. Gym Leaders Champion. There we go. Champions Cup. Where is Leon's team here? Hold on. Where are you, Leon? There we go. Yeah, Leon's team is a Shadow Ball, Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, Dragon Breath, Dragapult after the Aegislash. Like, it is a powerful mon. Powerful mon. And fast and powerful, which means even the only one mon that might be able to take it down is the Nidoqueen. That's it, because it's ground typing. Even the Sandaconda is not really going to be able to do much. But their sand typing, ground typing is at least giving them immunity to the Thunderbolt. But unfortunately, ground doesn't actually resist Flamethrower, like I once thought. It's more just neutral. So, and there's also Shadow Ball as well. So and then that's not even bringing in the Haxorus with Outrage, Iron Tail, Poison Jab, and Earthquake. And then depending on which starter he has, he's got Cinderace and Seismitoad, Water. So that's that. Or Inteleon and Mr. Rhyme, Ice and Waters, and Psychic, which has Freeze Dry, Psychic, Thunderbolt of all things. Or the Rillaboom, Grass, times 4 weakness for your team, and Rhyperior, which just hits like a tank. And then Gigantamax Charizard. There is nothing you can do against that team. There is just nothing. Not with this team, anyway. You would struggle. Not saying you probably could take down the Dragapult. I'm not saying that, but you're going through a giant chunk of your team to do so, and you're probably down to like 3 Mon, which would be Garganacl, Arbok, and Luvdus, most likely. And then you got to deal with the Haxorus, which is going to just cleave through the team again. Finally, though, you have Paldea. And once again, it just comes down to the Elite Four and Champion. This, though, is one of the regions I think it's a maybe. You'll take down Rika, no problem, because you're going to have 2 water Pokemon that's going to outspeed all her ground. The steel typing, you got 2 ground typings that deal with them. Most of them are slow. The flying typing, you got Garganacl, and you've still got a lot of extra moves between this team. Hassel will be the first real challenge because of the dragon typing. He's got Flapple, which is a grass dragon. He's got Noivern, Flying Dragon, Dragalge. Obviously, Baxcalibur, and I am blanking on the last one. Who was the last dragon type on his team? Hold on one second here. What was the last dragon on his team? Where are you, huh? Where are you? Let's see here. What was your last dragon? Haxorus. Duh, Haxorus. And these are some good moves. I mean, the problem right out the gate for you is going to be Dragalge. Already has Hydro Pump, which is taking down 3 of your Mon. He also has Thunderbolt, which takes down another 2 of your Mon. And then Flapple can come in, being a Grass Dragon, which Leech Seed, Seed Bomb, and Aerial Ace. So, yeah, you are in trouble against his team. I don't think it's impossible, surprising, because none of these are except for one, none of these are pseudo-legendary dragons, but still. And then you deal with Gita. Now, Gita is the one, if you can get with Gita, you wish, but if you can get to Gita, you can win. I think it's possible. Mind you, she has a water type and a grass type and an ice type on the team. But Veluza's fast. Epathra is kind of fast. All the rest of it's kind of slow. Epathra, honestly, just don't use a poison type. You should be fine against it. Then the Go-Goat comes out, so you would compensate. The problem is you might use Arbuck against him, but he does have Play Rough and Zen Headbutt. The Zen Headbutt's going to be problematic. It's not impossible, I don't think, but it is difficult. I think that's right. Because surprisingly, in the King Gambit's not that big of an issue because of the ground typing versus steel. And honestly, if you can just get all the way to the end, she'll Terrasilize her Glamora into a rock type. So take your pick on that. Either way, that's my thoughts on the team. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you for the next one.